Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing great,
All right.
doing great.
We don't know what we're going to talk about today, other than we're going to talk about next year first, and then we're going to flip back to last year. I'm just going to talk about the types of challenges that we may have faced last year, and then we're going to go on to talk about um, next year, the numerology of it, and some of the astrology. And we're going to talk a few bits about helping people, avoidance, and some other stuff. So, right.
We could go on for days. It's been a minute since we made a video. There's so much to talk about. I feel like we've been through a massive transformation.
Yeah.
We talked about that a little bit in our last video. We said, did anybody else feel that? And we had quite a few comments, a lot of feedback, and it was pretty evident. The people around us and myself included were going through changes, rapid changes, and it was like, nobody can see what I see. It's Pluto, also known as Persephone, in the eighth house, sitting there with Aquarius. It was a very powerful moment. It was a time of endings, which is also a time of beginnings.
And I'll go into what we learned. Or
Hmm.
we'll go into what we learned. So, to start with, I'm showing you this page of 2025 because it starts with WTF.
Oh boy.
January. Uh, January is what the fuck, which I think will be synonymous of next year. I think that that'll be a depiction. I think that we'll get into a level where big things happen, but we need to implement the tools that we've learned from this year in relation to not needing to control anything that is outside of ourselves. So the big thing for next year will be do not attempt to control, just let go. Um, one of the things that my son Mark's taught me, which is very big, is that's a you problem.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? I mean, there's nobody else like us. People can't always relate to where we're coming from. And that doesn't mean that they're evil. If they can still be kind and if they can still hold space, they don't have to get where you're coming from. Question is, can we hold space and be kind to one another?
Yeah, and just give, and just
And yeah, and not worry about the differences. Well, that's a you thing. Go
yeah,
you. Or
yeah,
that's a
that,
you problem. Good
that's a you
luck.
problem. Good luck. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
We can try, but mm, anyway,
Well, it's interesting that you came across that bit of wisdom, and I keep hearing about caring. What does that word mean? It means to carry. And so what is it that we're carrying as we care? We talk a lot about can, can't, won't, and letting go. And so I do think it's important to recognize what we can, focus on what we can change. And that's within, that's inner work.
mm, uh, always, always.
Yes. Yeah.
So last year, what I think it was a really big ride. Um, Ride from the height to the depths and the doubt. Uh, I'm just going to talk about when I went to sell my house, went to move my house. I had assets, but I had no money, and it seemed ludicrous to put a house on the market when you've not got money to move. And it was a big fear. It's like, how am I going to do this? Um, and what I learned from that was I was going to write a book on how to move without any money. But technically, I didn't do it without any money. So I never wrote the book because what I did learn was I had to ask for help. I had to trust in my ability to ask people for a lot of help, and whether or not that help came through or not, there was no expectation. So that that was how I did it, by just asking people to help me and giving back what I could when I could.
It's
Uh,
really hard to ask for help. And but I do think that people, generally speaking, enjoy helping, because we do care and we can do more. But at this point, I don't think we really know what to do, you know, and everybody's wondering what is the future? Well, it's waiting for us. It's waiting for us to create it. And I think, Kim, by making yourself vulnerable to the people in your life, they came through for you. You moved in record time. You
yeah,
got that done so fast. Everybody got, I'm sure, whatever debts there were from that brief period of time when you were moving, you looked after it, and
and the
it's just,
sorry, I don't know what that noise is.
go ahead.
Oh, it was you, was it? Um, the the accumulation of that was the truck the day I moved, and the mud and the rain, and the truck leaning towards the house as it got bogged and more and more and more bogged, and then it looked like it was going to crash into the house, and they couldn't move it.
And this seems like a really bad thing, but I was speaking to you the day before, and what's really interesting is how that all was actually, it turned out to be kind of beneficial, yeah.
Well, we were just laughing. I mean, me and the guy that owned the truck were just standing in the pouring rain laughing. Just going,
Yeah.
what else can we do? Like it's getting worse. What else can we do but laugh? And they got a crane and they got it done, and it turned out to be beneficial to me in retrospect. But uh, that was the laughing was just like a moment of, like you say, let it go, let it
Let
be,
it go. What are you
let
gonna
it go.
do? It's spilled milk. What are you gonna do? You can't unspill it.
Mm, yeah,
It's
exactly.
part of the ride. If you're being detained for some reason, not in any negative way, but like if things just, you can't find your keys, you can't, where did I put my wallet? This kind of nonsense. If you're being slowed down, if there's a lot of traffic and you feel like you should already be there, well, just calm down, go with the flow. You're being guided in that direction. You're being slowed down for a reason.
Okay. So the main reason I was talking about this is this sort of dragon ride, this sort of like up to the heights, jumping off the cliff, coming right down to the depths of desperation. At the point of desperation, you've got all these doubts in your head. You go into fear. The way through the fear is to take action. And then once you take action, it's like you come back up, whatever
Yes.
action it. And then I was talking to you this morning about the absolute polarity between being in this mindset of I can't control the outside world to the reason you can't control the outside world is because it's not magnetic. You have to actually go into your own self, create through your creativity. You then become, no, actually, that's not true. That magnetic bit. It is magnetic, but you don't want to magnetize the negativity, right? So,
Whatever we focus on, that becomes sort of our magnetic appeal. And so we could be focusing on our victim story.
yeah,
That's you know what, frankly, in hindsight, I think that's too easy. It's too easy to sit there and say, oh, wallow, 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 I can't do anything,
yeah,
because that happened to me in 1932. Like,
yeah,
really? Like if you're gonna sit and wallow in it, it's like it's happening right now,
yeah,
because you're manifesting all the memories, you're bringing it forward. It's like really potent energy that you're calling for, whereas you could say, okay, so that happened, and uh, and I'm going to rise above that. That doesn't have to happen to me every day for the rest of my life. I can put my attention elsewhere. What is it that I want? You know, and immediately by accepting that these things in life that some of us call trauma, that happens. That happens along the way. The dragon ride can be a little rough at times, right? And so, but it's important for us to learn to walk with that and not stay stuck in that.
And the reason that you stay stuck in that is because the fatalistic thought of this is never going to change.
And it's waiting for us to say, all right, I accept it, I surrender because it's spilt milk. We can't unspill it.
Mhm. Okay, so basically, in a nutshell, what I'm saying is last year was this up and down, like going at crisis, and then letting go, and then it resolving itself. So in that, we have learned to integrate this idea that it isn't fatalistic, it isn't the end of the world. And once we recognize that, we can bounce back up relatively quickly.
Absolutely, because we've rewritten the script. And but
Right.
now I find the challenge is remembering that, because it's like a swirl, it's like a ripple of energy. It just keeps coming back around,
Mm,
and it invites us to go back and do that again.
mm,
And do we want to? Do we want to go down that rabbit hole again?
yeah,
Probably not.
yeah,
So it's an opportunity for us to say, I see you, I still accept you, I still love you, I forgive you, give whatever high value energy you can muster up for it, and then move away from it, move towards what you do want. And I know that sounds very simple, but it's a muscle, and we can build that muscle. It's
yeah,
just something that just because we haven't done it doesn't mean that we can't do it.
yeah.
A lot of people think, oh, you make it sound easy. You haven't been through what I've been through. Well, look at, we've all had something. And, like the arrogance to say that we all haven't had something. Because it's those moments, it's those chaotic moments that propel us through life and teach us. They're our best
Mm,
teachers at times. I mean, they're horrifying at times, but they can be the most powerful, powerful teachers,
yeah.
life changing.
So then we come into hold on. So last year was all this complete extremes. So last year was meant to teach us about the next year, which is going to be what the fuck. Okay.
Yeah, can't
Uh,
wait.
so next year is the year of the hermit. So
Yes,
what I perceive from that is we're going to be doing what the fuck on our own,
I agree,
basically.
Kim. I
And
agree. And I think we're already witnessing in that, so many people are isolated. So many of us are, we're on the other side of the world, you and I. So many of us are a great distance apart, and it's sort of reason unknown. I think we know, but we don't know. And so I find that quite interesting how we're sort of strategically separated. And we're getting into this new age of air, if you will. Everything is in the air. Everything is about drones over here right now, drone everything, including people standing on these platforms that are big enough to hold a person, and now they're using a little video game controller to get themselves up in the air and gone.
mm,
What?
mm,
What just happened? This is beyond having your parcel dropped off.
mm,
This is like new age.
mm.
And that's happening really fast. We're in that quickening energy. So likewise, if we're going to focus on what we don't want, we're going to see it come faster. And, so it's very important because we are magnetic, and in this moment, vibrationally, things are moving faster.
So
I personally, that's how I see it. I think that's how it is, at least for me.
last year was courage and the star. So
Yes.
it was like our wish is
The
coming
star
true.
card. The star card.
The wish is coming true. The whole kind of resetting the platform so it's more stable uh for us to do the next bit. And the next part of the journey, I think, is going to be avoidance.
Well,
Like,
I mean, that's an option. You can certainly try, but I think that, to avoid life's lessons, in my experience, the lessons become a little more extreme. If you avoid those little nudges or however it is that you receive that knowing, um, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're probably in the wrong on the wrong channel. Uh,
We
because it's
we're
like
talking about
we're all getting some, yes.
the word avoidance. So we were breaking it down the other day, avoid dance, and saying, uh, so we're in a void,
Right at the moment. Yes.
or at any given time when we plummet, we're in a void because we're in this space of feeling like we're not belonging, feeling like we're not connected. And then the only way that I've found out of that void is through amplification of gratitude. So find an energy that relates to love and then give that gratitude, overall gratitude energy. And then you come out of the void because you're looking around you and seeing that the world, there's a lot to be grateful for.
You are the alchemist.
We are the alchemists. We're the ones that are transmuting these insecurities into flourishing new ideas or new concepts and going in creatively. I don't know whether this is making any sense, but uh, I think
It
that
is because I think you're not wrong. Like when you're in that creative flow, uh, it's fast and the inspirations come, it's clear, it's beautiful, it smells good, it feels good, tastes good. Everything about it is just high value, high vibration. Whereas, the opposite is true for those low vibrational thoughts. And they
okay,
are within our control, but I think it's asked us to do a lot of work, a lot of inner work, shadow work, whatever you want to call it. And that's hard for people. With that, I think that 2025 is potentially going to provide us the perfect environment for more of that kind of healing.
because
And as we discern who the people are around us also, because now we've become wiser, we've learned all these lessons, we've been through we've seen enough. Now what? And we know that it's up to us. So really it's about what will we manifest.
one of the very interesting things that you said was about March being the changeover.
I see it that way. The solstice is a major turning point. Our friend Stephen Beatty described it very well, and we could share a link to that so that anybody that wants to see what happens during that major change when the sun moves, you can see it. If you're a sky watcher, it kind of blew my mind the first time I became aware of how far the sun moves at the time of the solstices.
Well, that
Or
was when
sorry,
that
the equinox. The equinox.
the equinox in March.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
March one, the March one appears to be more powerful. That was when that guy, God, I can't remember his name, did the moon video where you could see the layer coming down over the moon. Did you ever see that? God, what's
The
his name?
layer coming over it.
Mm, the, it looked like a scanner. He was filming the moon during the equinox, and it looked like a scanner coming down uh,
I've seen some really
over the moon.
crazy stuff. In fact, I got a video the other day of what I think is a drone. Dean pointed out that it could have been a neighbor, somebody that might have had something like that, but it was pretty big, whatever it was. And do I think I manifested that? No. I knew it wasn't a star. I wasn't thinking of that kind of thing. I've since then can't help it. Keeps coming back to my awareness.
Uh, he, the guy was called Crow 777, and he had one of these Nikon 1000 cameras, and he did this.
Hmm.
This is back in 2012, I think,
Oh, I think
and
I've seen that video where it looks like it's like water flowing over the surface of the moon.
it's amazing because like the moon's here, and
Yeah.
but when the scanner comes down, the moon's actually ends up being here, so it actually kind of moves them. It's very slight, but it was done by Crow 777. It has a name, but I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, so if March is is the reset, then the
A little,
chances are,
eh?
if March is the reset,
Yes.
um, then the chances are the astrology or the Chinese astrology would be aligned with that too, because everything, all the information out there is so convoluted and messed up and
Well, I think the
distorted.
year of the dragon ends around the end of January. So we're
Right.
still in the year of the dragon, well past January 1st. In fact, a lot of times people make resolutions and then fail and wonder why. Well, you're trying to start something new in a season of endings. So the season of beginnings is March, and this is when the Aries, on the zodiac, this is when we leave Pisces, the 12th house, and re-enter. So that Pisces is the end. We come out head first. Aries arise in Aries in March. So we come out, we start. This is where we start. It's where things begin. So people who are born under the sign of Aries, it's everything. It's I am. It's who I am. And we all have Aries in our chart. So each of us is very different and unique. But I think that we experience very similar changes in energy as we did recently with Pluto moving into Aquarius. That was quite obvious to me that people were experiencing rapid changes that happened very quickly, things that were happening. So March is going to be, I think, no different than it ever is. There's nothing new under the sun. It's the same every year. We go through the spring, summer, fall, winter cycle. And here in North America, the we're in the winter. We're actually heading into the winter cycle as we enter the winter solstice.
Hmm.
So this month is pretty interesting all in all. I find we've got our full moon coming up, I think in Capricorn. So as we move into no, sorry, the next will be the new moon in Capricorn. So the new month, the moon is responsible for the months. There's 13 months, and according to the lunar calendar, and I believe the 13th character is us. We are the center of it all. And every aspect of it
I
affects
agree.
us, whether we're
I
aware
agree.
of it or not.
I
We
agree.
don't, I don't think too many of us fully understand it, but I think a number of us get it to the point where um, we can we can help people understand their own unique fingerprint. Like the gene keys, Kim. There's so many powerful methods of getting to the root of who you are.
Hmm.
There's other people that can help guide you, but the most important guide is the one that you find when you sit quietly.
Santos Santos Panaki really emphasizes the importance of needing to understand self in order to
Yes,
navigate this, and I agree with him.
I agree.
Um, but I
But
also think that one very, very, very important aspect that I've learned this year is the lack of need to control the external. We don't need to control
yes,
that.
no, no,
It's,
we're observing. And I
if
found like letting go, for me, the big words this year have been let them, let go. I've been really concerned and caring and caring is carrying, to carry somebody and whether they want you to or not, if you're giving that much energy to something that you have no control of, at some point you have to say, okay, enough. So let go, let them, I'm done, so care, but don't carry. How do we do that? We
by
become
letting go of control.
by letting go. That's right, by letting go and becoming an observer. And I have to say, there was this great calmness that presented itself, and it's been a little addictive.
Mm,
Quite like it. And in
mm,
that space, like I say, you really tune into what's most important to you, and I think that it's been a really powerful shift for me.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
centering
I,
down,
I'm
and then
pretty clear,
with that
pretty clear about what's
importance,
coming
you've
up.
got to be
Sorry, go
really
ahead.
with that importance. You've got to be really aware that you're not fixating on what's wrong.
Oh,
Like, because
absolutely. It's already done. It's spilt milk. It's done.
we've got such a bad habit of going around and bitching about what's wrong. Where it's a really bad habit we've got, and I'm talking unilaterally. And that awareness of, okay, well, if that person wants to sit in that space bitching about what's wrong, I don't really want to listen to that. I don't want to
Well, that's
listen to
part of
that
our
cycle.
conditioning too, because we forgot that we are our own healers. This is why it's important for us to know ourselves.
Yeah.
What is it that I need? You know, we're afraid to ask those questions of this big scary entity called spirit. You know, why? It's you. It's you. I feel like it's a future version of us trying to guide us. You know, we often say, what would you say to yourself? You know, your 21-year-old self. What advice would you have? You know, it's like that. Now, will the 21-year-old me hear what this person has to say? Probably not. Probably not. So there's the challenge. Most don't want to tune in. Others are afraid to tune in, and others completely dismiss it, go to the doctor, and I think we call it pick a label, you know, pick a label. Meanwhile, I call it us. It's us. It's our divine guidance. It's coming from a space of eternal wisdom.
So the one I, the one self, uh, the centering down on what we want to amplify in our world and
Yes.
not verbalizing what we don't want. So, and the shadow, that's the shadow side of self that verbalizes what we don't want, but then recognize what it is that you're giving energy to, and then take that and transmute that from fear to, I don't know, to it comes in as doubt, turns into fear, and then you turn to gratitude to resolve it and bring it back around. Because we're going to be doing this on our own next year. I don't
It
mean,
sure seems like that.
yeah,
Yeah. And but I think in a very positive way. You know,
yeah,
nine is the hermit. Nine is the one holding the lamp, trying to light the way for the
yeah,
other.
yeah, yeah,
Corresponds with the number 18, which is the moon card, if I'm not mistaken. 18 is the
yeah.
moon. And what
But
you've got there is two opposite forces of energy. And it sort of looks to me like the middle path. And like there's two pillars, there's two different colored dogs, and they're staring at one another. So it's like this left and right brain energy, this mystic and this science wizard are going to come together. It's a meeting of the minds. It's each trying to show the other what to do. And how can we develop an understanding that it's not necessary to change anything. It's just important to stay in the middle, you know,
but
sort of ride the dragon, do a little bit of both, have a little bit of logic, and also, allow the mysticism, allow both, allow the shadow to some extent. Take that energy and use it to propel you. So if the shadow is showing you that something isn't right, take that, heed that advice, and work with that energy until you learn what's true about it.
so the moon, to me, always comes through as total illusion. It's like the false light illuminating that which is illuminating the shadow side of self in order for us to deal with it. But it's an illusion. It's a fear. It's a doubt. It's an illusion.
Hmm.
Uh, so I think next year we're going to be bombarded with illusions.
I think
Uh,
that's going to come about because Neptune's making a move as well as Uranus. And so it's going to be the beginning of the year is going to be quite interesting.
so Uranus, we were talking about that. You are and us.
Yes,
Okay. So
we'll
have you?
save that for we'll save that for another day. But those
Okay.
those two mega, and these are outer planets. So this is our outer reality changing. You know,
Mm.
these are the ones that are furthest away. It's the stuff that we can't necessarily reach. It's the stuff that's very hidden. generally speaking, these outer planets, the Neptune, like the closer ones are Mercury, Venus, Mars. Those are the ones that's like inner work. That's your thinking. That's your inner beauty. That's your beauty and love. Venus, Mars, it might be your anger. It's all there. And so I think for me, it's become important to recognize that it's all there and it's part of the beauty of who we are, and it's all there for a reason. Now, do I think we should go out and be violent? No. But I do think it's important for us to listen to the wisdom that is coming through. And that includes why the shadow is the shadow. Why, how do we meet in the middle? It's about finding empathy for both.
Hmm.
And that for me is the moon card. They're both dogs. There's two pillars. There's so much alike.
Hmm.
It's like the yin yang. That sign is identical. It's a mirror opposite. Hermetically, everything that's good is bad.
Yeah,
So I've been really, the hermetic principles keep coming back to my attention.
yeah,
What is it that we're due to learn here?
yeah. I like
And I
that
think the
hermetic
best
stuff.
place to
Yeah.
learn about our inner self is in that quiet space.
Hmm. Hmm. I'd agree with that.
And I see people already doing it. And also, we talked a little bit about, Chinese astrology. It's Year of the Snake. Or sorry,
Yeah,
yes, Year of the
yeah,
Snake.
yeah.
So that sort of denotes us shedding our skin. We're going to be going through a major transformation
And
next
which
year.
it's a wood snake, isn't it?
I believe so. And also to be wise as serpents comes to mind. So to feel for the vibrations. Snakes feel you coming. I don't think they have ears.
Yeah, it's wood. It's a wood snake. So,
So it's all vibration for snake. And if you look at how a snake moves, it's sine wave, up and down, just like the dragon ride. Snakes are wise, though. It's often said, build your houses where the snakes live. Snakes know where vibrationally it's sound.
and also, on this island, there's a lot of snakes, and a lot of people like to have snakes on their property because of it deeming protection. So, a lot of
Well, it's
people,
also our Kundalini sex energy.
right? So next year's a sexy year, is that?
I wouldn't say it's not.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't say it's not. I think it's about allowing the energy to flow. I think opening the heart has been a major challenge for us. And I think that this year we've learned to do that. We've learned to open the heart. We've learned to take risks. We've learned to sort of trust in the guidance, whatever you want to call it. And so it's opening to the possibility that it's all going to work out. And with that, the energy now is flowing. And so the snake, the Kundalini energy, it's going from to root to crown and beyond. And so it's there for us to vibrate higher. We've been really suppressed, and a lot is being revealed to us. And I don't think next year is going to be any different.
So the wood aspect of it would be, what do you do with wood? You feed a fire with wood, so
It's
it's
the beginning.
creative.
It's the beginning of fire. It's the mother of fire.
So it's a creative, um, or the basis for a creation. So, but being a 9 year, it's finalization and endings and beginnings, which relate to the snake as well, because the snake's all about shedding the skin. It's the equivalent to a death card, so it's like letting go of the old, um, uh, advancing with the new. This is the foundation of setting the foundations of what's to go beyond. But
Also reminiscent of the Ouroboros eating its own tail. That's
mhm,
us. That's us.
mhm.
Nothing new under the sun. Um, the sky clock is highly predictable and often manipulated for the masses. We're shown it's time to be afraid when in fact it's a perfectly natural moment in time where the sun is shifting into its position for the next season.
Okay. All right. So,
A lot of fear plays out, I find, at important moments.
mhm,
It's like a distraction from what we are being asked to do, which is next year shedding our skin.
yeah,
It's because we've expanded, we've grown. We have to let go of the old version of us. If we really truly want to grow, when that impulse, when that echo comes around again, because again, there's nothing new under the sun. So that impulse is going to be there for some say 7 generations. If you look at the Russian dolls, that impulse of energy has been there for the last 7 generations.
yeah,
So we're here to clean that all up. We're here to transmute that. I think that is the mission of the light worker or whatever you want to call yourself. You know, it's to learn to speak another language. And I think starting with getting rid of the one that we've got, because there's a lot of I mean, you tell me, the language is a it's the more I learn about it, wow. It's kind of like the biggest breadcrumbs to the truth though, in
uh,
some way.
yeah.
Would you not
Even
agree with that? Yeah.
embedded in the words, you and I pick up on certain words and then break them down and go, yeah, wow, you know, wow, that's really powerful to understand the words you're using and the words you're thinking. And um, I think that one of the songs I've been listening to a lot lately is uh, my my theme tune to my phone, which I've had for years, which is "Return to Innocence" by Enigma.
Hmm.
And I think that this return to innocence is a big thing, and that's part of. Ah,
But how do
um,
you become lighthearted? How to become lighthearted? It's about putting your energy into things that are lighthearted.
mm, mm-hmm.
You know,
And
we
in the
can't, we
now,
can't, in the now, and allowing it to be a starting point. It could be something very small. That's my thought. At least just put it somewhere. Put that energy in another space. We can think and think and think and think, and that thinking can be quite destructive, you know? So it's important for us to use that Kundalini energy to elevate ourselves. Like there's one trick I think is kind of cool. Squeeze your butt cheeks and put your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And
what
that's sort of a way of connecting the two poles. And with that, you get a little bit of a charge. You get a boost of energy.
never heard
That
that one
sounds
before.
crazy, but I do it all the time. I learned that from Santos. I take the challenge. How will you know if you don't try? You know, try it. If it works for you, great. And if it doesn't work for you, well, I don't know what to say. I think it's kind of cool. And, if it gives you a little bit of boost, as you go through your day, deep breaths help to really clear your thoughts. So many things that we've learned that we can now integrate. And it's about becoming the whole and most, well, it's the hermit. It's the final version of that person that we've been up until now. It's the transformation of who we were.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna. Is there anything else you want to say before we finish this? Hmm? Frozen. You got frozen there. We both got frozen. No, can't hear you.
Hi, sorry, I just was getting some information.
All right, go on.
That's okay. No, it was very important, but it's nothing relevant. So, where were we, Kim?
I'm gonna close it here.
Oh, okay.
Um, so The only thing that I want to say is just kind of like if you've got any comments or anything, please comment. We're really low on subscribers in relation to dropping below the 1,000. Not that we've done any lives, but if we drop below the 1,000, then we can't do a live. So if anybody hasn't subscribed, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe just to give us that little barrier, so we can do lives if we want to. And that
Yeah, it might be
that
fun someday in the future.
yeah, yeah. Uh, it would be probably this time of day normally, which is what time is it there for you?
What time is it? It's 7:45 in the evening.
Right.
So I guess we've been on for about an hour.
Yeah. So about 7 o'clock in the evening we'd probably do it. And then that makes it really, really early for those people in the UK. But I'm not
Yes.
I'm not sure where our major dynamic is. I think between, well, it's all three zones really. Anyway, so any comments below, appreciate it, and we'll talk soon. And you got, if we don't talk to you before, have a great Christmas, and we'll talk in the new year.
Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. And so grateful for our time, Ken, and the ability to share with others and hope people are doing well and reach out, let us know how you're doing and what you think. What the F? Here we go.
There is one more thing I'd like to say, which is one of the things that came up for Christmas was this idea of people feeling really bad because they were left alone.
Yes,
And a lot of those times, those people who were left alone had seen their family like throughout the year and then
yes,
not seen their family or not arranged through Christmas, and it was really upsetting for them. And it was really weird
yes.
because it's like, hang on a second, well, you live really close to these people. Why is it such a problem when you're seeing them all the time anyway? Does it need to be like, can't you just be grateful for seeing them all the time anyway?
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
can't you
And
just
or celebrate on a day that suits everybody. Everybody has
exactly?
different schedules. Once my boys moved out of my house
Yeah,
and started their own lives and their schedules, they're all different. So we may get together all at once, which is beautiful, but rare.
yeah,
It's more likely that we'll gather one or two or three at a time, and that's perfectly fine.
yeah,
The point is to gather and celebrate. What is this for if it's not for that?
yeah. I
So
agree.
just enjoy what's offered and trust that you can attract a much brighter future.
And if you're alone at Christmas, then just do your favorite thing, whatever that is.
Absolutely. And find other people that are alone at Christmas. If you need a friend, be a friend.
Yeah,
There's plenty of lonely people in this world. It takes one person to step out of their quiet, space in that moment and open up and bring others some cheer. We can do it.
okay. Bye.
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 Bye.